If you're 5'4" or under and trying to lose weight, you're probably struggling to see results. We're told to just be in caloric deficit, but why doesn't that work for so many petites? I've narrowed it down to 5 petite-specific mistakes that are ruining your caloric deficit. If you fix these, you'll finally have a plan that is made to work for your body. The first mistake is setting your deficit wrong in the first place. Most of us just Google our BMR and decrease calories from there. That number ends up being way too low, which is why you feel so awful during your diet and can't actually stick to it long term. The thing is, your BMR, or your basal metabolic rate, is just the amount of calories you burn by laying in bed and doing nothing all day. It does not consider your activity levels and how much you burn just by digesting food. This backfires for us petites because our BMR is already low to begin with. For example, if I just lay in bed all day, I burn 1200 calories. That's my BMR. But with lifting heavy in the gym 5 days a week and getting at least 10k steps a day, I burn around 2300 calories a day. That's my TDE number. If I just decrease my calories to 2000, which is still quite a bit of food, I will lose weight. That sounds way more manageable and healthy than 1000 calories a day. Since I've been lifting for years, I've built up my TDE to be quite high. If you're a beginner, it's most likely going to be a bit lower than that. But if you're interested in increasing your TDE as well, I've made a whole video on reverse dieting specifically for petites, and I will link it down below. Going back to figuring out your TDE, just go to a TDE calculator online and input your age, height, weight, and activity level. It will calculate the number for you. Decrease that number by 10 to 15% and you've got the right amount of calories you should be eating to lose weight sustainably. But the second tricky mistake I see a lot of people do is thinking that their deficit is not working in the first place. Most people stick to their deficit perfectly for the first week, but once they step on scale and see that not even a pound was lost, they feel discouraged and they feel like it's not working. The problem here is, as short girls, weight loss is just slower for us. We need to adjust our expectations based on our bodies, not the generic weight loss advice. For example, a 5'1" petite will maintain her body weight at around 1800 calories, while her taller friend with around the same amount of body fat will maintain at 2400 calories, just because of the height. If they both go at a 15% deficit, petites will be around 270 a day, while her taller friends will be 360. It's only 100 calories, but because her taller friend's gap is bigger, she will lose weight faster. So while for her it can take 6 weeks, for petite it will take around 8. But that's actually not a bad thing, because slower weight loss actually helps preserve muscle mass, and the more muscle mass you have, the more calories you burn just by existing. It also causes less stress on your body and keeps your hormones nice and healthy, so you can keep your health in check and easily maintain your results long term. So before you decide your deficit doesn't work, be patient and give it at least 2 weeks before making any adjustments. If after 2 weeks the scale still does not move, you can increase your deficit and wait at least 2 more weeks to make any more adjustments. But the next mistake is what actually might be messing up your adjustments in the first place. It's eating back the calories burned. People log their food in MyFitnessPal, but then their watch says they burned 300 calories during their workout. The app actually increases their calorie intake for the day based on how many calories it shows they burned. Without even realizing it, people just erase their deficit or even go into a surplus. That's because when you calculate your TDE, it already includes your activity for the day. If I need to be eating 2000 calories to be in a deficit, but then my watch says I burned 500 calories during my workout, if I eat back those 500 calories, I will be in a 200 calorie surplus, so I'll just be gaining weight instead. For us petites, that little number of 200 makes a big difference. So make sure that you keep your calories fixed no matter your activity that day. When you're using any app, make sure that it doesn't add back the calories that you've burned during that day. Now the next mistake is super common. It's overeating on the weekends. If you're perfect Monday to Friday, but then you have an untracked meal on Saturday, you might be erasing all the hard work you've done during the week. And I know this sucks to hear, but because we're short, we have a lower TD, which means we have a lower margin for error. If I'm dialed in Monday to Friday and have a 200 calorie deficit each day, that's roughly a 1000 calorie deficit by Friday. But on Saturday, with a main, a couple of drinks, and a dessert, I'm easily over extra 1000 calories for the night. All the work during the week erased in one night. I'm not saying to stop going out or enjoying food. Not at all. Instead of thinking of your deficit day to day, think of it like a weekly budget. If I know I'm going out on Saturday, I plan for it ahead of time. I make my weekday deficit a bit higher. Instead of a regular 200, it will be 280 a day. That's very minimal, but makes a big difference, because by Friday, I've met my calorie deficit goal for the whole week. Now on the weekends, I can eat freely in maintenance and still end my week in a deficit. This way I can enjoy my weekends, go out, and still be on plan. If you don't feel like banking more on the weekdays, you can also just keep your meals out simple. Have a protein-based meal like steak or sushi and just limit yourself to one drink or dessert. It's all about creating balance and being able to still enjoy going out and eating out while not being too strict or giving yourself too much grace. Now, the mistake that quietly stalls progress is having a low need. Most of us dial in food and crowd crush our workouts than sit at a desk all day. That backfires because NEAT, all the movement you do outside of the gym, walking, doing chores, fidgeting, makes up a huge chunk of your daily calorie burn, most of the time even higher than your workout. If your whole calorie deficit comes only from eating less, your calories will get very low fast, especially for petites, making it very hard to stick to. You have to have the tiniest meals possible, which leads to low energy and most of the time overeating later on. It's also unnecessary because there's a better way to do it. Instead of taking your whole deficit from food, divide it by 2. If you need to be at a 500 calorie deficit, substitute 250 from food and create the other 250 with NEAT. For example, like walking 5,000 extra steps a day. It's the same deficit, but a lot more manageable. The issue is, most of us know this, but with a busy lifestyle and a desktop job, it's very hard to get your steps in. An easy fix that personally helped me is having a step floor. A realistic number that I know I can actually stick to every day, no matter what. I can always go over that, but I will never go below my step floor. And if you're just starting having step goals, don't go crazy and have a step floor of 10,000. Even starting with 5,000 is a good number. Now, to actually meet your goal, you can add in micro walks during the day instead of trying to meet your step goal all in one walk. Whatever your step goal is, you can just look up online what is the average minutes that it takes to get there and then divide it by how many little walks you can take. So for example, 5,000 steps will take anywhere from 30 to 50 minutes. So you can just have 5 micro walks a day. And that sounds a lot more manageable than doing it all in one go. If your deficit hasn't worked until now, I hope that fixing these 5 mistakes will finally make it work for your body. If you like more content on fitness for petites, make sure to follow me and check out my petite specific playlist. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!